Good morning, fifth grade. We are on page 87 in our activity book right now. So if you want to turn there now, that would be a great thing to do. This is your example. It is looking at 4 different things that we can do with 1/3 and 1/6. So we can compare them, looking at 1/3 being greater than 1/6, and the way we did that is we can make sure by turning these into fractions with common denominators. We can then add them only when the fractions have common denominators. We can subtract them, again, only if the fractions have common denominators, and then we can also multiply them. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to work through 3/5 and 4/7 together. I have some scratch paper right here. You can use your whiteboard or a notebook if you'd like. This isn't quite enough room for me, and I like to have a little bit more room in doing it. So I'm going to go ahead and we first need to compare them. So the easiest thing for me to do before I compare any fraction is I need to make sure that they have common denominators. So here's 3/5 and I'm going to use 4/7. So I need to multiply each of these by a fraction fraction equal to 1 to give me these equivalent fractions. Remember, an equivalent fraction means that we're not changing the value. So I need to think of what 7 and 5 have in common. Well, I can count by 5s to help me out. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. 5 times 7 is the only thing. So I'm going to use 35 as the common denominator. And then I'm going to decide 5 times something gives me 35, and I know that's 7. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. And then 7 times 5 is 35. Again, what I do to the bottom, I do to the top. I have multiplied both of these numbers again, 3/5 times a fraction equal to 1, 4/7 times a fraction equal to 1, which is why we are able to do this. 3 times 7 is 21, and 4 times 5 is 20. So now that I have these two common denominator fractions, I can compare them. I can see, obviously, that 21 is more than 35. 21 is more than 20, so I'm going to write 21 over 35 is greater than 20 over 35. I could also write this, or 3/5 is greater than 4/7. So now that I have these as fractions with common denominators, it's going to be a lot easier to do the next couple steps. So I can add them. 21 over 35 plus 20 over 35. And when I add fractions, I add the numerators, leave the denominators alone. So 21 plus 20 is going to be 41 over 35. At this point in time, we should never leave a fraction as an improper fraction or a fraction greater than 1. So I'm going to move over to my scratch paper and I am going to simplify that. So I'm going to divide 35 into 41. So 35 divides into 41. I know that's only one group. 1 times 35 is 35. And now I subtract. I need to borrow or ungroup the 4, and the 1 becomes an 11. 11 minus 5 is 6. 3 minus 3 is 0. The 6 becomes the new numerator, and 35 is the denominator. 35 is the same denominator we had here. We leave it here. Same denominator. All right, so this is equal to 1 and 6/35. All right, now I get to subtract. So I'm always going to take the bigger number and subtract it from the smaller number. So 21/35 minus 20/35. Well, 21 minus 20 is 1. 35 stays the same denominator. So 21 minus 20 is 1. 35ths stay the same. Now I can go ahead and I can multiply. So I'm going to multiply 3/5 times 4/7. When we multiply, remember we're doing numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. I can see if I have anything to cross cancel first, and I don't. So I'm going to do 3 times 4, which is 12, 5 times 7, which is 35. And my answer for the multiplication problem is 12/35. These are an example of how we do each of these type of problem. Again, these are all review. We've done all of these types of problems before. What you're going to go ahead and do now is you are going to complete box number 1, which is doing the same steps with 2/5 and 7/10. Please make sure that you show your work on a piece of paper on your whiteboard, and then you are writing the same equations in the boxes just like you see here in the example and here in the one that we just did together. You're doing this problem now and typing the answer into the slides. Good luck!